Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Let's get it on. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. I got to tell you, Lonzo, there's a little feeling of it's not deja vu. What would be a word when there's deja vu, but it's about something that's bad, right? There's got to be a word. I mean, like deja vu can be good or bad, but like when it's definitely sparking memories of something that's not so positive, is there a word for that?
I don't think deja vu is particularly positive. It's just it's a feeling that you've dealt with this before. Right? Yeah, and it's I think it's more negative than positive. Because when you have deja vu, you right away you're worried.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I don't even know if deja vu is the right expression here.
All right, how about I've got a bad feeling about this.
It's not even that, because it's not bad. By the way, the Obi-Wan trailer I think is going to drop today or tomorrow, because Disney has created the Obi-Wan account. Their first tweet was "Hello there," which is amazing. Lonzo and I are sitting here in the studio. We're getting the show ready to go. I sit down in the chair, and Lonzo goes, "We got basketball on during the show today." And I went, "Yes, we do," because we are now in the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament, and that game is underway. Florida State, the 8 seed, taking on the 9 seed of the Syracuse Orange. And it got me to thinking, about 2 weeks after I moved here, not even 2 weeks, about a week and a half, a week after I moved here and started doing this show in studio, Lonzo, we sat down with no expectation of doing a show because we had a basketball game to broadcast happening midday as the Clemson Tigers were set to take on the Seminoles of Florida State in the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship basketball game. The players were out on the court. The trophy had been brought out to midcourt to put on display. The players were warmed up. We were nay but 6 minutes away from tip-off of that game. And we got the news that the ACC championship game between Clemson and Florida State had been canceled due to COVID-19 concerns, right? It was the beginning of the lockdown. Everybody talked about March being shut out because of COVID, but it was really the ACC title game as well as the SEC title game and a couple of others that were kind of the first domino to fall in sports being canceled for a brief period of time. And now here we are in the studio at 12:06 on a glorious upstate Wednesday afternoon, watching yet again the Seminoles of Florida State in the ACC tournament. And this time, Lonzo, the game is on.
And wow, over 2 minutes have gone by and 3 points have been scored.
Yeah.
That's just it's awesome.
Yeah, let's just say the shots are not yet falling in Brooklyn as of now. Syracuse gets another deuce up, so it's 3-2 Orange with about 2:15 played so far in this game. Shots are not falling early. But again, you know, it's again, I know it's an excuse. Now, Syracuse has already played a game. They won in the opening round. Florida State got a 1-round bye by way of being the 8 seed. So it's their first game in the Barclays Center in New York. It takes that is a glorious mullet.
I was just going to point out that I love that the big hair has come back because it reminds me of my childhood.
Oh yeah, 1980s hockey hair is big with the college boys.
Also,
right now.
We're seeing some huge froze and some things. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Florida State and Syracuse opening up play in the second round, the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. We'll have 4 games today, 2 tomorrow between our final remaining 4 teams, and then our ACC championship game coming up after that. The SEC bracket has been set as well. We'll run over all of that coming up here in a minute. But before we get into any of that and we start talking sports, ladies and gentlemen, we start with this.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented. You guys here?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog. These are the 3 things that you will have to know about to discuss sports today. This will be the scuttlebutt, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it, shall we? Item number 1 on the lunch breakdown. We did have to edit this because yesterday we expected that there was going to be more cancellations of Major League Baseball games if the two sides, the players union and the owners, could not reach a collective bargaining agreement that would get the season kick-started. Well, they did not. However, they also did not cancel any games yesterday. We expected cancellations to come down the pipe, but despite the fact that Major League Baseball said that the players' offer of a CBA was actually a step back and put some more offers on the table, nothing got done. Jeff Passan said that Major League Baseball and the Players Association plan to pick up talks on a new collective bargaining agreement today, this morning, after deep into the night discussions produced some progress towards a potential deal for the league to put off canceling another batch of regular season games. Yesterday, they negotiated, and I'm actually happy to report this, for 17 hours, ending after 3 o'clock in the morning. It did yield some breakthroughs on day number 97 of the MLB lockout, but the union requested to reconvene with player leaders yesterday morning before responding to the proposal the league would put onto the table late last night. Now, MLB, as we mentioned yesterday, had threatened to cancel the season's second week, an act that could have grave consequences at a particularly sensitive time in the bargaining. The ultimatum from the league, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN, was simple. With a new basic agreement, players could report to spring training sites this week, free agency would reopen, and following a shortened spring season, a 162-game season that offered players full pay and, maybe more importantly, service time would begin. Players spent a number of hours late last night into Wednesday morning discussing the league's request for an international draft, a subject the union has in past negotiations rejected, and that does not have significant support from a rank and file with nearly 1/3 of MLB players representing Latin American countries. Additionally, players balked at the league's latest offer on the competitive balance tax, which would start at $230 million in 2022 and end at $242 million in 2026. There were some other proposed deals that were thrown in hopes that Major League Baseball could replace the games that have been canceled so far and save a full season. The league proposed a 6-team draft lottery, a 12-team postseason, and a 45-day window for Major League Baseball to change on-field rules, all of which matched up with the union's previous offer. And those were some of the more contentious spots, right? So those were some spots that players had thrown out. This is what we like. The owners in the past had said no, but last night, or the owners said no, but last night the owners did introduce those into their offer as, I guess, a step closer to each other. But the fact that they went 17 hours yesterday, which they have not done so far in these negotiations, the fact that they did not call off the negotiations until after 3 o'clock in the morning this morning, and the fact that after calling them off at 3 a.m. this morning, they decided, let's grab some Starbucks and hit the conference room again early Wednesday morning, shows me that maybe there is some progress being made. Maybe there is some progress on the table here. We will address that later on in the show. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. before I give you this, I want a sincere answer to this question. Before all of the legal problems started kicking in for Deshaun Watson, I was told that Deshaun Watson has a big following here in the upstate, right? I was told that Deshaun Watson, that there's a lot of people that have followed Deshaun, that still follow Deshaun, that love Deshaun, that cared about Deshaun's NFL career, et cetera, et cetera. Is that still true? Is it still true? I remember when the stories about Deshaun and his legal woes broke a number of months ago. I remember that initially there was a lot of support on social media. There were a lot of people coming out going, that's not the Deshaun Watson that we know. That's not the guy he was on campus. I don't believe it. This can't be right, et cetera, right? There was a lot of Clemson fans that were basically saying, don't jump to conclusions, Rob. Don't go out of your way to start trying to fan the flames here. Let it play out because that's not the Deshaun we know. Deshaun is better than that. Are you guys still out there? Are there still folks that are supporting Deshaun? Are there? And listen, I'm not talking about let's let the legal process play out, right? I'm talking about folks that are in his corner. Folks that are still supporting Deshaun, don't believe any of it, et cetera, et cetera. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Now, I say that because I have included the most recent update on the Deshaun Watson story in the lunch breakdown. The question that I have here is, should I moving forward? Do you guys care? Is there a reason for me to make Deshaun Watson stories part of the lunch breakdown? Part of the early portions of the show? Part of the show at all? Or are you guys kind of over the whole thing? 2 key steps in the criminal investigation into Deshaun Watson are scheduled to unfold Friday, according to Yahoo Sports. Watson is slated for his first deposition in the sexual misconduct civil lawsuits brought against him, with the quarterback's legal camp preparing him to plead the fifth in testimony. That's going to happen at the Harris County District Attorney's Office when they begin presenting evidence to a Houston grand jury in Watson's criminal investigation. It's a major intersection, according to Yahoo Sports, between 2 legal paths that have stretched out for nearly a year following the filing of 22 civil lawsuits against Watson back in March of last year. Now, there will be, at least if this does happen if it does happen in the public eye, perhaps some clarity into Watson's legal future, as the grand jury proceedings are expected to produce a decision on whether to indict the quarterback for felony sexual assault. Now, these 2 proceedings are not directly tied to each other. Watson's legal camp has tried to hold off depositions in the civil cases until after the grand jury's decision on a criminal indictment. The reasoning there is to avoid any chance of overlap in Watson's testimony on the criminal side that could, on the civil side, that could impact the grand jury proceeding. So if Watson was to say something in the civil discussion that then went public and became evidence in the criminal side of things, it could have an impact on that, right? And if that is the case, then Watson could dig himself a hole with his own testimony in spots where he either can't plead the fifth or elects not to. Whether or not that will be the case, we don't know yet. But
all right, I'm confused really quick because I could have swore that Deshaun said he was innocent.
I believe Deshaun has said, I want to clear my name.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, I could be wrong. I don't have every quote that Deshaun Watson has dropped so far.
At the same time, if you want to clear your name, pleading the fifth, how's that clear your name?
Well, here's the thing. You can be innocent and still plead the fifth, because if you say anything that creates doubt, right? If you say anything that creates doubt, you open the door, especially when you're facing a grand jury, because there's the old saying, a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich, right? Because all the grand jury does when they convene, it's much less simple than this, but the point is, the point of the grand jury is prosecutors bring what the foundation of their case is in front of a grand jury. The grand jury hears it, and then the grand jury decides, yes, there is, or no, there is not enough evidence here to proceed to a trial. And so if you say something in a grand jury, in front of a grand jury, that makes it even sound a little bit like there's doubt on the table, then the grand jury says, let's go to trial. And going to trial, whether you're innocent or guilty, going to trial dramatically increases the odds that you could be found guilty of the crime.
Well, I'm curious because you started this segment by asking people if they still believed in Deshaun. The thing is, I think public perception is when you hear someone pleading the fifth, they're guilty.
Yeah, I know there have been some very high-ranking politicians that we have said that we have basically turned the old expression, if you've got nothing to hide, why are you not saying anything, right? It's for instance, and I don't think I'll get in trouble for this. If you're ever questioned by the cops, even if you've done nothing wrong, the advice you'll hear from every attorney is don't say anything. Don't say anything. Because anything you say that is even misconstrued as an affirmation of what they believe you have been involved in, you're building a case for them, right? You're building a case. If you are questioned, don't say anything at all. It's not that you're hiding anything. It's not that you have something to hide. It's just that if someone's job is designed to figure out if you have done something wrong, any words you say can be twisted into making it look like you did something wrong, right? I have seen and heard that from every walk of life, which is why if you talk to an attorney, the majority of defense attorneys will tell you, if you are questioned by authorities, your best bet is to say nothing at all except I want an attorney, right? And that's kind of the thing here. Deshaun may not have done anything. He may have done everything. We don't know. But if you're Deshaun Watson and trying to clear your name, the best thing to say is nothing at all. Plead the fifth. Make them work for make them prove what they say about you without you saying a word to confirm or deny any of it. And that's why Deshaun is going to take the fifth for as many questions as he can in the civil depositions, which start this weekend. Because if he says anything in the civil depositions and it leaks out to the public, which of course it will, it's the most high-profile NFL criminal case since Ray Lewis, right? If he says anything in the civil depositions and it gets out into the public eye, then the prosecutors going in front of the grand jury can say, well, he said nothing to us, but in the civil deposition, he said this. And if he said this, ladies and gentlemen, couldn't it mean this? And if it means this, isn't there doubt on the table enough to justify taking this to trial? And if it goes to trial, the number of teams that are still willing to roll the dice on Deshaun Watson, of which the Carolina Panthers are allegedly one, drops down to probably zero, which drastically limits Deshaun's ability to get out of Houston. So we'll see where that plays out.
Or get out of jail.
Or stay out of jail. Exactly. Or stay out of jail. Because I have news. Being in jail, big detriment to trying to play NFL football. It's not really smiled upon to be in jail and also play NFL ball. I don't believe there is an NFL work release weekend program from prisons. I could be wrong. I've never been to one. But
what, the NFL or the prison?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. See all of the above. All right. Texas says, let's see. ESPN, it's an obvious cash grab. No one pressed charges shortly after or called the police after the alleged event, only at the insistence of their trial lawyer. Only a Me Too snowflake would believe otherwise. Texter, have you met anyone who has been sexually assaulted? Because I have. A number of them. 2 dear friends and a family member, if you'd like to be specific. And do you know what those 3 people all had in common when they came to me and trusted me to tell me what happened? All 3 of them said, please do not tell anyone. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want this getting out. I don't want people to know about this. Not calling the cops doesn't mean it didn't happen. All right? That's a narrative that needs to die. It's a narrative that needs to stop. Let's see. Hey, woke Gamecock Liberob. Why am I not surprised we get panic porn coverage of Deshaun Watson and barely a reference yesterday of USC of the sweep Clemson gave U of SC, not to mention the full segment on U of SC women's basketball. Hey, Texter, name me a pitcher that started for Clemson. Just name one. You want to know why? And this is not a bad thing because I've covered college baseball on here. We did bring it up. We didn't mention it. But here's the reality. Lonzo, what's the number one objective for us as radio hosts on this show? What's the thing we have to accomplish every day for us to go to our boss and him say, great job today?
To get listeners and keep them.
Yep. To get interaction. And college baseball is big. I'm not going to lie. But I'm also not going to lie about this. If somebody's doing this a long time, it doesn't move the needle as much as you'd like. I promise you, I'd love to talk more college baseball. I brought it up. I mentioned it. I congratulated you on a sweep. I literally talked about the break. In fact, I said, Lonzo, I actually said, congratulations on your force being so clean because you brought out the brooms against South Carolina. Well done. I made a joke about it, and we did talk about it. But it doesn't move the needle. You want college baseball talk? Call in and talk college baseball with me.
That text is the definition of butthurt, and without a doubt. I mean, dude, get over it.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in a minute for item number 3. I'm going to play 2 audio clips for you. And then I'm going to break the story around. Not break the story. I'm going to repeat the story based on them. Because I got to tell you, I played these audio clips for myself before the show today. And I chuckled. Because some of y'all still trust people in sports. Tell you what I mean next on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. Oh, Lord, the stream chat popped up.
Yeah.
Tayshawn, what's up, big dog? Welcome in. Benjamin, Keegan, Trey, welcome in, y'all. Good to have you.
Yeah, suddenly they were there.
Yeah, I looked at it a few minutes ago and there was nothing. I just popped up in the whole chat.
And so, because you're there, now I'm leaving. He has to tinkle, yes. And so do I, but I'll have to wait because, it's now become a contest to see who can jump up first. So Wendell's Dipping Ranch, is that, like au jus, or is that like putting, have to do with chew? I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Or is it like a barbecue place? Well, it's not a ranch, it's a branch. Where is it? I don't know. It's actually a branch, it's not a ranch. Don't know what the difference is, but yeah. So it appears to be a country place. That looks like a place that Rob Brown would hang out at.
Where's that?
Wendell's.
Wendell's?
Wendell's.
Wendell's?
Wendell's. You got to say it right.
Wendell's.
Wendell's.
Oh, is that the Oyster House?
It looks like a
Wendell's Dipping Branch. In Anderson? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what.
Wendell's Dipping Branch. Yeah, it
looks like it. I went to it. It looks like a bunch of good old boys play there, which is fine. Not my style of music.
A picture of a foam party.
I don't know what that is.
Foam party?
Yes.
It's like a big dance floor, and but then they just pour foam over it, so everybody dances in the foam. It was.
Wait a minute. So like liquid foam, not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like soap bubbles.
So like dancing in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun cleaning that up. Sucks for the guy who has to clean up after that. Understandable. It's one letter, man. I mean, he said ranch instead of branch, and I'm, and looking at the place, it might as well be, ranch. I'm sure it's a fine place. Looks like a cool.
Looks like a great venue.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because the outside looks like an old country restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I was
like
thinking.
A club.
Yeah.
It hits all the motifs at once. If they stick a motorcycle bar on the outside, it's the perfect Rob Brown hangout.
Well, when they took the picture, they may have said, "Hey, man, keep the bikes that way."
Yeah.
I mean, they could have. Russell Wilson tweeted, "Seattle, I love you. Forever grateful." But, what he's really saying is, see ya. Uh-oh. Orange Cassidy is trending. Let's make sure he's okay. Good luck figuring out why he's trending. I'm seeing things that Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are actually the same person.
Have you ever seen Danhausen and Orange Cassidy in the same place? Yes. Yes, numerous times.
There's a video that's trending of a dude with his hands in his pockets skiing in a skate park doing a flip. Here, I'll send it to you. And this is why I believe he's trending, because they're saying it's his brother. I just sent it to you on Twitter. You got time. It's only a couple seconds long.
I'm just going to start doing stuff with my hands in my pockets for no reason. All right, a couple of texts that have come in on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We will read them on the air. Texter says, I think you're a woke liberal, but I think these issues are important too. Keep being meh. We enjoy it. That is the best burn compliment I've ever received in my life. Keep being meh. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, Texter. I'll try my best. Texter says, women never lie. Right, Bobby? No. Absolutely. I believe I had just gotten on the air, or maybe it just come on the air shortly after the Duke lacrosse case. Remember that? The young lady accused a number of Duke lacrosse players of sexual assault, and then they came to the table with receipts, but by the time they were able to effectively prove that she was lying, Duke lacrosse had been shut down. Most of those players had left Duke and gone elsewhere. And in a show of support, I quite literally wore a Duke lacrosse shirt on the show for a while after that. All right. Because I felt bad for those guys. But I'm saying 22 of them at the same time, all with eerily similar stories. Like, yeah, maybe it's orchestrated by the attorney, which is why I've said and continue to say, I'm letting this play out. I have not said Deshaun did it at all. I'm saying there's 22 lawsuits against him. And if I'm an NFL team, I'm not rolling the dice on it. Doesn't mean he did do it. It means I'm not rolling the dice on the guy. Texter says, so Gamecocks women's basketball moves the needle more than college men's baseball. Please give me a break. Yes, I am telling you that is the case. They are a Final Four caliber team. They are the number one team in the country. They have lost 2 games. One of them, the SEC tournament final, when they faced the best team they faced in Kentucky since the Stanford game. Yes, it turns out, and this may shock you, when a team is at the top of whatever it is they do, they move the needle.
Yeah,
yes.
When you have the bling, when you've got the championships, when it looks like you're going to win another one, yeah, the people are kind of excited about that.
Do you know when in my career, when I was able to get away with talking the most U.S. men's national soccer team? It was when they made the run to the quarterfinals in the World Cup back in, 2014 or whatever it was. The Landon Donovan, Tim Howard, Clint Dempsey goal that moved them on. It turns out when a team, and it's almost regardless of sport, when a team is hot and winning and they're more enjoyable to watch, they move the needle. When the men's curling team won Olympic gold 4 years ago in the Winter Olympics, I was doing whole curling segments because people were into it, because we were winning. Yeah, I am telling you that folks who are winning move the needle dramatically more than folks who are not. It's really simple. Like I talk up how hard this job is, and don't get me wrong, as Lonzo will tell you, the job's not easy. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's eclectic, but it's not easy. But one of the first lessons you learn when you're doing this job, is teams, people that are winners, they move the needle. Not to bring wrestling into it, but Roman Reigns didn't accept the title of needle mover because it's a cool catchphrase. When you're at the top, you move the needle. It's real simple. And as of right now, the South Carolina women's basketball team is the best women's basketball team in the country. They are the #1 overall seed in March Madness, America's favorite sporting event, hands down. Of course, it moves the needle. And yes, if you don't believe me, here, let's do a fun, easy experiment for you, Texter. Let's do a fun, easy experiment. I would say, Lonzo, that in the grand scheme of things, over the course of, what have they been on the air? About 40 years now, coming up on 50? I'd say SportsCenter on ESPN. I'd say SportsCenter's done a pretty good job of figuring out what moves the needle, how to move the needle, and how to get people to stick on that show for a long time, right? They probably got it down to a formula at this point, I would suspect.
Possibly.
I'd say so. Do me a favor, Texter. Tomorrow morning, wake up when I wake up, about 6:30, 7 a.m., thanks to the stupid dog, who I love, but she's stupid at 6:30 in the morning. Wake up around 7 a.m. tomorrow and turn on SportsCenter. And I want you to watch it for about an hour. That's about how long they run it, and then they loop it over and they go back and recover those stories. I want you to watch it for about an hour. And I want you to tell me, dear Texter, dear listener, how much college baseball gets shown? Because I watched it this morning from about 7 till about 8:15. Woke up, took the dog out, was sitting on the couch. I watched the dog while the lady friend's getting ready for work. Put the dog in the crate when I get ready for work, right? I sat and watched SportsCenter for about an hour this morning. You want to know how many college baseball references there were? With a good amount of games that have been going on. There were 3. There were 3 college baseball references in an hour, Alonzo. 2 of them were quick score reads. No, sorry. One of them was quick score reads, and the other one were 2 of the ESPN top 10 plays were college baseball plays, and that was it. I love college baseball. I cannot wait for June to roll around when the regionals and super regionals start. Okay?
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Because last I checked, it's March, and what is synonymous with March? That would be March Madness, which is, we're starting to deal with right now. So that is the bigger thing. And, women play basketball too. The women at South Carolina play it really, really well. Really, really well.
The best in the country?
Yeah, championship caliber.
Yeah. We're talking about what moves the needle. Now, here's the other thing I've told you. Then I got one more text, and then I'm getting out for the segment. Here's the other thing I've told you. I don't know if you know this. I do things that move the needle. I do things that I think move the needle. Do you know what you have the power to do? You have the power to, you move the needle. What moves the needle? Listeners, interactions, right? I don't always love that, but interactions move the needle. So instead of going, how come you don't talk about Clemson baseball? How come you didn't talk about the sweep? Do you know what I do to open almost every segment? 844-477-3776. That's the phone number.
And I just want to say, when you call in, Texter, and say your name is Clemson Joe, Clemson Bob, Clemson, I'm not writing the Clemson part on. So just so you know that.
Here's what I do know. Lonzo, you and I have been doing this show for what? About year and 2 months now? Little under?
Together?
Yeah.
Yes. Something like that.
Lonzo, answer honestly. The entire time we've been on the show together, how many phone calls have I told you I'm not going to take?
None. Now,
Zero.
There may be some that I tell you, no, you shouldn't take that call, and you don't listen to me.
Correct.
So there's that.
Even when Lonzo tells me, don't take this call, I go, we'll take it and just make it a minute.
Because if you call in and I think you're bad, I'm going to let them know that I think you're bad. But,
and those of you that watch the stream know this is true.
But Rob wants, everybody to get on.
I have never turned a phone call away.
Whereas I am a little picky.
I have never turned a phone call away. You want to talk about it? Don't go, I can't believe Rob didn't talk about that thing that I specifically want to talk about. Call in. That's what it's here for.
Or there's somewhere else you can go and just talk nonstop, getting your butt kissed about your team, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Texas
says, then riddle me this, Libber Rob and Lonzo. Cue the it's a trap sounder. Why did we not go in depth on the Clemson men's soccer national championship? I mean, by your words, the best at what you do moves the needles. First off, we did talk about it. Second off, it's because of text that I get that sound like the one that literally came before this. Rob, women's basketball and men's baseball both suck, but not as bad as the communist pastime soccer. I do talk soccer. We did talk about that. But as I've pointed out, like I did with the pictures a second ago, Texter, name me 2 players on Clemson's roster from last year.
They've had plenty of time to look it up now.
Name me 2 players from their soccer team last year. Because what this is, here's the truth. You don't want me to talk about Clemson soccer, right? Because I could come in and go, I thought it was very interesting that Clemson run this formation. They ran these tactics. In that game against Washington, which was a fantastic finale, I watched it live. Did you? You don't want me to talk about soccer. Lonzo, he doesn't want me to talk about soccer. You know what he wants me to do? He wants me to talk about how great Clemson is at sporting. That's it. You don't want Clemson soccer. I know what you want. Right? I'm going to sound like the Ulta heel here. You don't want me to talk about Clemson soccer. You don't want me to talk about the tactics, the formations, the players, the strategies. You just want me to go, Clemson's better than everybody. They won at the soccer. Let's all celebrate it. You don't want soccer talk. You just want to hear how great your school is. And that's not my job. Never has been. Never will be. My job is not to tell you how amazing and super duper you are. My job is to talk about sports. And that's what I do. And according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association, Lonzo and I do it better than anybody else in the state. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Mic drop! That was harder than I anticipated.
Yeah. It's
I meant to just spin it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's my turn to go to the restroom. I hope that thing works when we turn it back on. And Roger's last comment is excellent.
Wednesday doubleheader at 7 Eastern on ESPN TV, followed by the Blazers and Jazz. The Lakers' LeBron James questionable tonight against the Rockets with knee soreness. The Giants apparently have their eye on a former top 10 draft pick when free agency opens next week, with the intention of pushing incumbent quarterback Daniel Jones. ESPN's Jordan Renan reporting the Giants expected to make a run at free agent QB Mitchell Trubisky when free agency starts. He spent last season in Buffalo with New York head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Shane. There will be no shortage, certainly, of teams interested in Trubisky this offseason. USC signed men's basketball coach Andy Enfield to a contract extension through the 2027-2028 season.
All right, not ignoring the stream, but got a million things going on. All right, let's see. Trey said, I've never been a sucker, but yeah, I want to go there. I want to check it out. Steven, welcome in, big fella. Good to have you. The Odyssey app stopped. Oh, okay. Well, that's not good. Keegan said, I probably create 2 segments a day. Yeah, you're not wrong. Rob is hiding his face in shape. No, I can't do a mic drop in this room, so I have to do like a mic spin. It's the best I can do. Except for what I meant to do was hit it so it would spin away from me, and what I did was make Austin Theory contact with it and drive it across the room. So that was an accident.
Yeah, luckily there wasn't enough velocity to hit the glass, because who knows what would have happened.
I know. What a catastrophe.
Well, the glass wouldn't have broke, but it might have fell down and knocked your drink down, and there was all kinds of things that could have happened.
An event of terrible things.
Are we still talking about them Tigers?
That texter said, dude, I was literally at the Clemson v. Triumph game and saw you there. Next day you were on air. All we hear is excuses about why they won. And I responded, oh, you didn't come say hi? You could have called me Liberob to my face.
Well, you're quite intimidating, so that's probably what it was. I've seen Rob mad before. He's not mad.
Oh, I'm not mad.
Yeah, I've seen him mad lately. Actually,
I get frustrated when people. Granted, like unless you work in radio, you can't you don't. It's not like an insult, but like unless you've done this, you don't know how it works in terms of listener interaction, right? Like it's down. We literally get newsletters about how to best shape interactions with listeners to drive.
We just got one today.
Literally this morning,
we did.
We got one about how to interact with listeners to create the.
I never read them, but I saw the headline.
I do. I read them all. And a lot of them are really good.
That was a joke. I thought it was funny.
But the point here is that the frustration comes when people go, effectively, I know how to do your job better than you do, right? Like I haven't been doing this 14 years in 7 different markets. And maybe that's true. Maybe you do know how to do my bed.
Hey, if you want to come in and do my job, we're looking to hire all the time. Yeah. I have no problem with training you.
Submit your demo tape, man. I just realized this one texter has turned me full Ric Flair today. Like I'm better than you and I know it today.
See, that's a totally different person. If you're going straight on MJF, I'm down for that. That was more of a MJF move than a Ric Flair move, hitting the microphone. Although during Vince McMahon's interview, I don't know if you watched it, at some point he's just like, okay, boom, he did exactly what you did. Yes.
I'm gonna bring in a fake mic to sit right here to drop. I'm gonna talk into this mic, and when I do that, pick up a fake mic and drop it. So I don't want to turn this whole segment into just me responding to like 6 texters, but here we are. Texter said, dude, I was literally at the Clemson v. Triumph game and saw you there. Next day you were on air. All we hear is excuses on why Clemson won. Okay, a couple of things. Number one, if you saw me there, why didn't you come say hi? You could have called me Liberob to my face and you passed on that opportunity. That's too bad.
You are large and menacing. I mean, you see you walk into a room, you're like, I don't want none of that.
Second off, you didn't pay attention to the conversation, right? Once again, another perfect example of you got mad at what you thought happened instead of listening to what was actually happening, right? What actually happened is I responded to people who were saying Clemson's better than Greenville. See, college teams can beat pro teams, as if they had a point when they didn't. All right? I was not saying, yeah, let me make all the excuses for the Triumph. I don't need to make excuses for the Triumph. They played 3 years and have gone to the title run 3 times. And I was not saying that to poo-poo the Clemson Tiger soccer team. In fact, I spent the entire week as the only sports talk radio show host who broke that game down for you instead of just giving you a surface level response, right? Praising them for being the best soccer team in men's college soccer all year long last year. What I said was there were people who just looked at the scoreline of 2-0 and went, wow, Clemson this, Clemson that. They're better than the Triumph. If you do that, you did not pay attention to what happened. That is why I've told you, if you listen to a talk show host and the best he can do is read scores to you, that's not a good talk show host, right? If you just picked up the newspaper the next day and saw Clemson beats Triumph 2-0, I mean, that is true. That is the scoreline. But when Greenville trotted out 3 trialists, guys that aren't on the team, I heard somebody, I cannot remember who, went on a rant on social media, I think, about, the Triumph replaced their goaltender. No, Paul Christensen replaced Dallas J about halfway through last season. Dallas was playing well, but his schedule got overloaded because he also plays for the Guam International side. In fact, one point, had to fly literally around the world. Had to fly from here to Dallas to China. The game in China got moved. Then he had to fly to Qatar. Then from Qatar all the way back to LA. Then from LA back to Texas, where they had a Triumph game like 2 days later or a day later. Right? I promise you, nobody knows this stuff on the air here better than me. I'm going full MJF today. I don't care. No one knows the local soccer scene on the air. There are guys in the area who know the local soccer scene better than me, but nobody on the air knows it better than me. I was not just trying to make excuses for the Triumph. I was saying, if you care about what actually happened, instead of just on a superficial surface level, here's what actually happened on the field. Because I went. By the way, felt it important enough an event to be at that I went on my birthday. That was my birthday. And I said, I need to cover this. I need to go there and cover this and promote it and talk about it. So I skipped the brewery tour that the lady friend wanted to go on for my birthday and went to a soccer game because I felt y'all would want the coverage. I did not just go, here's surface level what happened. Let me tell you about what happened in this game that, by the way, Lonzo, wasn't televised. You couldn't watch it anywhere. So if anybody said, I saw this game, no, they didn't. Unless they were there. They didn't say, unless they were there or have a connection to Clemson or Greenville that sent them game film. And I doubt that was the case. They didn't see it. I did. That's why I brought it up. That's why I talked about it. To show you you're not just getting superficial surface coverage of an event. I'm there. I'm part of it. That's my job. That's my goal. I'm going to take one more break because I need to go turn that air conditioner down. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. We're better than you, and we know it. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
maybe it's me, but when Rob gets fired up, he doesn't yell as much. He gets more even keeled. That's scarier than someone who yells when they get angry. He's not angry. He's fired up.
Thanks, Lester. Appreciate that, fella. Yes, Lonzo's absolutely Arn Anderson. That's not even I didn't even have to think about that.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I got some Tully Blanchard hair from back in the day, but I'm definitely Arn Anderson.
He's the Kevin Nash to my Razor Ramon. He's the Arn Anderson to my Ric Flair. He's the Wardlow to my MJF, except he doesn't backstab me yet. Heel turn incoming.
Is that really a heel turn though? No, that's more of a face turn, but still.
He's the open hand to my John Cena.
Wow. I think we need to stop right there. Works really well with you wearing that jersey, doing that. I recognize the clever as someone who purposefully doesn't thinly veil. But leaves enough room for plausible deniability.
That's exactly right.
So what? You got that out of that?
Keegan says now they want to play faces and heels. No, we're heels. We know it. The best heels, Keegan, are the ones who know it and lean into it. The key is to know what you're good at and do it.
So it was storming so bad last night, I thought it better to not turn my Xbox on because,
I was gonna say I saw you on I got home.
Yeah, I was on early. And then food got there. And it's like, let me go eat. And then I don't know. Then I watched NXT, and then I started watching the basketball game, the Gonzaga game, and I fell asleep. The rain beating and the lightning, the thunder, and I was just like, I was gone.
Josh said, I want to hear the Jim Rome come out. Arugula. I take so much vacation because I get so much vacation. Have a take, don't suck, grab a vine. And that's all I can say. Because anything after that, I would need a full writing staff to tell me what to say. That's thinly veiled.
Boy, would I have fun as a writer.
Wait, you mean I can say outlandish things and someone else has to take the onus of it?
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Let's go.
It's getting serious. McDonald's has closed all its restaurants in Russia indefinitely. Didn't know there were McDonald's in Russia.
Oh, dude.
Wonder what a Big Mac is called in Russia.
KFC and Burger King are shutting down today. What is Russia going to eat? The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up hour number 1. When we come back here in just a minute, the segment that I wanted to do half an hour ago, but then texters train wrecked my show. Here's the thing, Lonzo, I let them do it. I knew what was happening while it was happening, and I let it happen. Don't ever say that Rob doesn't let the listeners control the show. You guys have the power to shape the conversation. This is exactly what I was saying to the texter who said, why not Clemson baseball? It's because you hate Clemson, Rob. I don't. As I've said many times, I am a fan of every team in our market for one reason and one reason alone. Because when they are good, Rob makes more money. I hope Clemson and South Carolina meet in a college football national championship one day. I would buy a G6 with the remote talent fees we would get leading up to that.
Stop laughing. It could happen.
Guys, you control the conversation. You have more power than you know in this sphere of influence. When we come back, I got 2 clips for you from the NFL and show you why you should never trust anyone ever again. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Roger, I think you're implying that I was scared of the storms. I didn't say that. I slept like a baby last night. And no, I'm not shaving my pits because that's just weird.
You don't know it's weird? You've never tried it? You might feel better after.
No, because my experience is when you shave something, it grows back thicker. So no, thank you. Which is why my back has never been shaved. Looking for volunteers, though.
Miss Lisa, Lonzo would like you to shave his back.
No, I would not.
That's what he just said.
Nah, let it go. Let me go full bear at the beach. It's awesome. Just the looks that you get. I wish it was patchy, though, because those people get better looks than I do.
Those people.
Yeah, the patchy ones. I don't understand how that works, why there's patchy, but, you know. Still pretty sure that Twinkies don't exist anymore. Maybe another company picked them up.
They don't exist?
I know they stopped making them for a while, but I think another company may have bought them and started making them.
Wait, when did Twinkies stop existing?
It's been like maybe a decade or so.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's an older story. I know that they had discontinued them, and another company, I believe, may have picked them back up, but I think Hostess stopped making them. Because I remember, okay, it wasn't a decade ago, but it's been a while because I remember talking about it on Saturday. I'm just pointing out a dated reference, that's all. I don't believe that Twinkies are the sweets of choice anymore.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I don't think they have been in years. I don't even know when the last time I had Twinkies was. I'm fast.
I'll take your word for it, Roger.
Just to show that we're all friends here, that texter who drove the conversation just texted Lonzo and said, and I quote, "I still love you, Rob. I'm sorry." Oh, I love you too. Without you, there is no Rob Brown Show. So thank you, and it's all your fault. Texter says 2 years ago, Rudy Gobert gave the NBA COVID. That should be a fun convo to have today. You remember that? I went off on that at the time. Rudy Gobert, like the day before the NBA stops, like as the college basketball tournaments are being canceled, Rudy walks into a presser and just starts touching every microphone in the place. And then he becomes the first NBA player to get COVID and starts the lockout. Beautiful. What a moment of poetic justice. Welcome back to Rob Brown Shows on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Let me go straight to it. Lonzo, grab me clip number 1, if you don't mind. Now, this is audio that's about 5 days old. But there's a reason I'm playing these 2 clips. Clip number 1 is Pete Carroll. Pete was asked about the future of his quarterback, and here's what old Pete had to say.
Russ has been our quarterback for a good while, and we've got a long contract with him. And when all of the conversation went about trades and all that, I knew what the truth was. We weren't trading Russell. And so That's so we plan on him being here for a good while. I don't know how many years it is now, but we're in great shape, and a long future ahead of us is shared. Russ knows that, and I know that, and we're very clear about it. It's why it was really obvious that we just had to sit back and let the kind of the media take its course with the topic, and so we did. And so we're in good shape, and both very clear about that.
Surprised at how much questions you've had about Russell Wilson's future this offseason?
How little questions we've had about it?
Are you surprised about how much conversation there's been?
Well, no, because last year it was out there like twice as much. So this is, so no, I'm not surprised. I mean, look, it's the quarterback world right now. They're talking about all of them, and you guys are doing everything you can to try to figure it out. And that's what you got to do. So there's a lot of people taking shots, a lot of lines in the water right now, trying to guess and see what's going to happen. At this time of year, we're there's conversations about everybody. We're talking about everybody, and that's commonplace for us to have conversations with teams about all of the players, particularly marquee players, and that's not changed. It's been the same every year we've been here, so it's the same as it's been. We have no intention of making any move there, but the conversations, John has to feel those he always has, but nothing specific to that.
Now just hang on to that for a minute, okay? Just sit with that for a second. Then clip 1A. This would be the voice of the quarterback in question who was asked similar questions that same day.
Well, I think anytime in sports, obviously things can change. I think that's just the reality. Everybody knows that, But I think that for me, my heart of hearts, and I love the city. I love this place. I love everything about it. From the moment I touched down to Seattle Children's to, our Why Not You Academy to everything else that we have going on. This place has meant a lot. Ultimately, I love the fans. I love my teammates. I love this coaching staff. I love this building. So every time I come up here, I get excited. Just to get ready to go again. And every morning I wake up to win, and wake up to win another Super Bowl for the Seattle Seahawks. And that's my mission. Well, I think there's a lot of confusion because the reality is that I forget. I think I was in the Bahamas or somewhere, and everybody was saying that I requested a trade. And that wasn't true. So we made it clear that I did not request a trade. And then there was teams being flown around that I was going to go to those teams, this and that. And so, I think that, when you look back at it, it's part of, I don't know, it's part of it, unfortunately, and I think that, more than anything else, that I got my wish, in the sense that I've always wanted to play here. That's where I am. That's where I am right now. And, that's what I've always hoped for ever since 2012 when I put all the names in a hat and pulled out the Seahawks out of a hat, and then sure enough, about 30 days later, the Seattle Seahawks picked me. So, that's my mission, that's my goal, and that's why I'm here today and ready to roll.
So that was Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, head coach and former starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Why is that interesting? That's interesting because in that clip, in case you forgot, it was like a minute and a half ago. Pete Carroll said three different things. He said, number one, Russ Wilson isn't going anywhere. Number two, this is media driven. You guys are just trying to figure it out and speculate, and it creates all of this discombobulation. And number three, we will listen to calls from anyone, but we're not trading Russ. And then you heard Russell Wilson saying, I love it in Seattle. I love everything about Seattle. I want to stay in Seattle. I want to win Super Bowls for Seattle. I want to retire in Seattle. And then 48 hours after those two gents got in front of a microphone and said, we're not trading him. He's our guy. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to win Super Bowls here. Russ is a Denver Bronco now. Now, for the record, I don't fault anybody in this situation, right? I don't fault anybody. I don't fault Russ waiving his no trade clause to go to Denver. I certainly don't fault Seattle for taking the deal. Denver put together a freaking treasure chest for them, right? Will they get 2 firsts, 2/3, a 5th, and a pair of good players in return? I'm going to say Drew Lock's going to be the starter for Seattle next year, but he might be, right? He might be. They got some pretty good players. They got a package full of picks, a haul of picks, including a pair of firsts in order to get Russ. Russ, on the other hand, is going to a place where they've got a good young receiver core. They have got a baller defense. They've got a well above average running game. Denver is put together for a run right now. Granted, it is in what I think, Lonzo, is now the NFL's toughest division in the AFC West, right? I don't think there's a tougher division than the AFC Wild Wild West. Think about the quarterbacks in that division. Mahomes, Russ, Carr, Herbert. That's a pretty good list, right? Derek Carr being low man on the totem pole at the same time that Derek Carr's probably got a fat contract in his future based on what he did with the Raiders this year and the turmoil the Raiders went through.
Yeah, and not nearly as bad as people try to make it sound like. The Raiders are a decent team, especially with all the stuff they were going through, and still didn't look bad.
The Raiders were a kneel the football away. Like, come on, man. Right? That was a good squad. So Russ is now in the toughest division in football. It was already probably the toughest, but now with Russ in the mix, it is the toughest division in football. Russ is now in the toughest division in football. Maybe made it that way because Denver is built. They are ready for a run now. And Russ is going, yo, I'm 33. What is it? 33 years old, right? It's not like Russ. Again, I don't think any of us think that Russell Wilson has Tom Brady blood in him, that Russ is going to be playing until 41. He is 33 years old. He will turn 34 in the season next year, right? Russ is out of time. By the way, here's fun for you. The Washington Commanders, Lonzo, offered at least 3 first-round picks, and it appears Taylor Heineke and another player for Russell Wilson, and either Seattle or Russ said no, right? I suspect Russ. Could be Seattle. I suspect Russ said no. And I suspect Russ said no because he had the option of Denver, which was his preferred destination, or Washington, a team that's got a young receiver core, a solid defense, a good run game, and is ready to win now, versus a Washington team that is absolutely in absolute turmoil at this point in time. But the point is, I absolutely found it comical that it wasn't but 2 days ago that Russell Wilson was going, oh, I want to stay here. I want to be here forever. My mission is to win more Super Bowls in Seattle. I love everything about this place. I want to stay here. And then 2 days later, he's like, yeah, I'll waive that no trade clause. I'll waive it. I'm good to get out of Seattle. Let's roll. Mile High. Let's do this.
I equate it to a Marvel actor. No, I'm not in that movie. It's the same thing to me. Like, yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah. Yeah. Ready to see Tom Cruise's Iron Man. Right? So, the point of all of it, I think, top to bottom here, is don't trust anyone ever, especially in the world of sports. Texture says that was the boldest pack of lies Pete Carroll spewed since he told the NCAA he was unaware of any money going to Reggie Bush at USC. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I think that's the case, right? Like, both of these. And by the way, I'm an idiot, but I've been following NFL news for a very long time. By the way, Syracuse is up 30 on Florida State right now. 62-32, and we have not played a full 5 in the second half now. Syracuse 9 of 19 from the three-point line. Florida State 1 of 15 from behind the arc. FSU is about to build a McMansion with the number of bricks they're putting up against the glass right now. It is ugly in Brooklyn for the Noles. All right. 1 of 16 from the three-point line. Do it again. Nope. Still can't hang on to the ball. All right. Anyway, the point here is, for the record, business comes before everything else. Because if you're a Seattle fan, right, who likes Russell Wilson? 2 days ago, you were floating, man. We got one of the best 6 quarterbacks in the league. He's out here telling Seattle media, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be here. I want to stay here. I love this city. I love this community. I love the people. I wanted to be a Seahawk from the beginning. I want to be a Seahawk at the end. I am all in on Seattle. You're hyped by that, right? Like your guy's staying. He's staying. 2 days later, Drew Luck. Drew Luck is your starting quarterback. Don't trust anybody. It gets ugly. All right, let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute from right now. Update you on the baseball story. I got that for you. Plus, Heartbreak City for one basketball team because their scoreboard operator made a mistake that cost them the game on the court. It is a ridiculous story. I'll tell you about that. We mentioned Washington, the Commanders a moment ago, and the fact that they thought they had Russell. Ron Rivera does not feel good about his life. Talk to you about that next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Whoops. Whoopsie.
It's pretty embarrassing if you're Florida State.
Oh, are you kidding me? This is atrocious.
64-34.
I genuinely don't know that the COVID lockdown hurt anybody worse than it hurt FSU, because that was genuinely a Final Four team the year that the tournament got canceled while they were on the floor. They were going to be a 2 seed, maybe a 1 seed. They had multiple NBA players on that roster.
Pro Football Talk just tweeted Giants signing Matt Gono.
Matt Gono?
And Graham Gano tweeted, "This won't get confusing at all."
Brown, 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 brown. Brown, 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 brown.
Thanks for putting that song in my head. I appreciate it.
Josh put it into mine when he said, "Lions in the water." Lions in the water. Tigers in the sky.
So my sister's father had a cover band that would practice in our living room, which was half the size of this room. And they would play that song over and over again. I think it's the first song I ever heard played live by anybody in my living room.
Lons, you ever made a mistake?
Yeah, you did just now.
You ever made a mistake, Lonzo, that you only made because of something really stupid? And you look back at it and you're like, dude, that was, I just missed something obvious.
Yeah.
Like not pushing the button to turn your mic on.
I
when
made
you were about to do radio.
mistakes that were really stupid, and I look in the mirror and saw really stupid.
So, inside the Mott Athletics Center on Saturday night, Cal Poly committed a turnover, and the University of California, San Diego, made a layup off of it. Here was the problem. The scoreboard read 76 Cal Poly, USC San Diego 75. The Tritons were down 76-72 inside of 40 seconds to go. They scored to close the lead to 2, forced a turnover, scored again, to tie it at 76. Except the scoreboard said the score was 76-75 instead of 76-76. With a tied ball game, instead, they thought that they were down 1, Lonzo. Game's tied 76. They thought they were down 1. So, senior guard Jake Killingsworth did what you do when there are inside of a few seconds left to play and your team is trailing by 1. You foul.
You absolutely foul.
You foul. You send them to the line. You hope they miss a free throw. You get the rebound. You come back. Instead, Cal Poly's Cameron Pierce made both free throws to go up 3. The Tritons tried to pull off a contested 3. They fouled again on the missed possession, and they lost 80-76. The scoreboard operator, after the tying bucket, did not add 2 points. He added 1. After the basket, the head coach tried to call a timeout. UCal San Diego coach Eric Olin said, tried to call a timeout after the tying basket. But because of the atmosphere in the arena, who had thought that the game was now tied, the officials did not see or hear him trying to call a timeout. He also tried to explain that the only reason an Ivy League transfer, as Killingsworth came over from Columbia, would foul in that situation was because the scoreboard was wrong. He looked up at the scoreboard, saw his team trailing by 1, and decided to foul. Olin said he talked to the officials who said, quote, "There's nothing we can do. The foul stands and they fix the score. Then the kid goes to the line and makes 2. It just is what it is." Now, here's the worst part about it. UCSD lost the game. Had they won that game, Lonzo, they're going to play in the CBI or CIT tournaments. They're going to play in the College Basketball Invitational or the College Invitational Tournament. Now, obviously, these are like third-tier tournaments behind March Madness and the NIT. But for a school like UCSD, that's a season expanded. That's more exposure for you. And when you are Cal Poly or UCSD, anytime that you can play and get in front of potential recruits, you look better because of it, right? Now they fail. Now they lose. I'm not saying it was because, by the way, FSU now 1 of 18 from the 3-point line, including back-to-back consecutive airballed 3s.
Well, that was bad. So it was in the corner and it goes way over.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Is there a mercy rule in college basketball?
I don't know. I could have did better than that.
I had to tell you, I don't turn off live basketball when it's on, especially when we're in the air zone, but I'm about ready to turn this one off. I don't have a dog in the fight. I just am tired of watching atrocious basketball.
I could turn
what is FSU doing?
I could turn the screen for you so you just can't see it.
This is just an atrocity in the name of basketball at this point. Syracuse is 2 buckets away from going up 40.
And there's still 10 minutes left in the game.
This isn't like the end of the game. There's still 10. There's still the entire fourth quarter.
I'm just excited to see some actual scoring in college basketball. It's only on one side.
I'd say from one team.
Yeah.
All right. So this team now is not going to any invitational tournaments because the scoreboard operator got it wrong. Zoe, could you imagine waking up today and being the kid that fouled when the game was tied, but you didn't know it? B, the head coach that was running up and down the sideline screaming for a timeout, but did not get it. C, the officials who were being screamed at for a timeout, but did not hear or deliver it. Or D, the scoreboard operator who blew the score, got it wrong, and effectively cost this team the game.
Yeah, this is on the scoreboard guy. more than anybody.
I was going to say, faces and heels seems really easy on this one.
Yeah, the kid who fouled, I mean, he's just doing what you should do in that situation. Sometimes the refs don't see the coaches because coaches get animated on the sidelines.
And the whole place was going bonkers
yeah,
at this point.
So I get all that, but I think it comes down to the scoreboard operator. I'm guessing it's probably, you know, like a college student or something doing that.
Maybe, but usually for conference tournaments, the organizers bring guys in. That's what they do, right?
So if it's someone who indeed is getting paid to do it, probably shouldn't be doing it.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Past tense. A guy who was being paid to come in and operate the scoreboard and will not be asked back. That's bad.
It's a shame. He had such a promising career as a scoreboard operator. He was going to excel to heights never before seen, and now one little mistake has cost him his career. I feel badly for him.
You ever operated a scoreboard for a game before?
No, but I've been like next to the person doing it. So
I've done it, right? When I was in high school, my head basketball coach put on a high school tournament, right? And what I realize now was a way to keep his costs down. He would recruit his own basketball team, who, by the way, Lonzo, was in the tournament, right? When there were games going on that our team was not playing in, our coach would assign us to the local gym that we were going to go into, run the scoreboard, or be the PA announcer, right? And now I realize it was because he would go, if you do this, I will give you a letter grade in my history/geography class that all the basketball players were in.
Come on now. Now, I find this far-fetched and hard to believe that an athlete would get special treatment from a teacher or an administrator.
Oh, I know.
That's just not real. That doesn't really happen. That's only in movies.
No, yeah, no, it definitely doesn't happen. So anyway, there I was getting a free letter grade in my AP geography class because I worked a scoreboard. I had to tell you.
Yeah, it's so bad. Rob doesn't even, first he said history, now he said geography. He doesn't even remember what it was.
The coach taught both history and geography classes.
You think he actually could teach history or geography?
Oh yeah, he was a great teacher too.
Okay, I'm
just
curious.
All the credit in the world. He was a great teacher. Good basketball coach, great teacher. I enjoyed his classes. I also enjoyed that my C was turned to a B and then my B was turned to an A because I sat in a gym and went for a few hours over the weekend one time.
So could you see, now that you say that you've run the scoreboard, could you see that maybe your attention was diverted at some point and maybe you missed something?
So with basketball, it's kind of tough because, you know, basketball scores can happen every 4 to 9 seconds. So there's not really an opportunity to be distracted. But yes.
One of the worst offenders are wrestling tournaments because a lot of times, you know, the scoring is done by a student and matches have to be stopped until, because they're just over there talking or looking away and they don't see, you know, the 2 or the 1 or the 3 or whatever. And I've seen that happen a ton. So it wouldn't surprise me that the person, I mean, but how could you put down a 1 and not a 2?
Well, if you push the button twice, but it only registers once, you know, but the key is to be paying attention to when they score, you look down and go, okay, 74. Now it should be 75, 76. But if you're not paying attention, you just push the button twice, right? Like when you type, you don't look at if you type good, you don't look at the keyboard when you type, right?
I don't look at the keyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I can type.
I got a D in typing, but that's, you know, but the teacher talked to me the entire time and then
threw desk at you.
And then no, this is a different teacher.
Oh,
she talked to me the entire time and gave me a D. And when I was like, okay, this is the worst grade I've ever had in my life. Why are you giving this to me? You talked to me the entire time. She's like, well, you shouldn't have paid attention. It was a valuable lesson.
Yeah. Ignore authority figures. That's the lesson. Yeah, I don't look at the keyboard when I type, right? In fact, during breaks, I will type out sentences on an email, but be looking at Lonzo while I do it.
Oh, they know, they can hear it because you type real angry. But anyway.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. If you're a scoreboard operator, it happens. But my goodness, to cost a team a conference championship, to cost a team a bid to a postseason tournament because you couldn't push the button twice effectively. That's going to stay with you for a while.
Yeah, you're sneaking out of there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no way you're
oh yeah.
Yeah, you're done. As soon as that buzzer's over, you're out.
I'm hiding under the bleachers for the better part of a day or so. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I got some more NFL news and notes. Obviously, yesterday, a big day on the QB market. But did Aaron Rodgers sign his contract? Or was it all a troll job? And Jeff Passan went dark on Twitter for about 3 days. In the midst of Jeff Passan becoming the most well-known baseball reporter in America, he disappeared from Twitter. And he's getting called out for why. Tell you about that story and more on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
I'm intrigued. Don't know the story. I cannot wait to hear why. No, I was just laughing because of who's on the air right now. I'm surprised you didn't laugh when you heard his voice. Read this message right here. So I'll have to remind you who they are. Jim Cummings is the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Yes.
I know him.
And Johnny Bosch is the Black Ranger, who is the one I wanted.
Yeah.
With all the voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to contact them after the show. See when I can get them on. And further down, they're talking to Nash's people and FTR's people, and they'll let us know. So
no flips, just fist.
And all that stuff's going to have to be taking place in, the next couple weeks because it's April 9th and 10th.
My God, Florida State's embarrassing themselves. Syracuse just got 3 offensive rebounds on that possession. 3 in one possession.
Yeah, but they got a guy down. That's not good.
No, it's not.
Prisman, next break.
Let's see. Tayshaun, is that true? Kyrie went for 50 and he didn't miss a single shot, apparently. No, he didn't. He did miss some shots. He went an embarrassing 15 of 19 from the field and 9 of 12 from the arc, 11 of 13 from the free throw line. That's embarrassing. The
earth rotated a little bit. And
it must have. Well, it doesn't rotate. It just spins because it's flat.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. There are, what? I'm going to ask this on the air. I'm going to ask this trivia question on the air.
Ooh, trivia. I hate that. Good for you, Keegan. How's that discouraging? We wish you well.
We're going to have to go a whole week without Keegan producing content for us.
See, you act as if that,
Keegan, do not watch this show when you're on your honeymoon.
Dude,
all right?
You do what you feel is necessary.
As having met your beautiful fiance, who I love and adore, do not get caught watching this show while you're on your honeymoon. All right? Don't do it.
Nah, just say you're going back to the room to take a nap. Then tune in. Uh-oh, why is he trending?
You know how I know FSU's in trouble here? Because Jim Boeheim, Lonzo, Jim Boeheim, not Buddy Boeheim, not the player, Jim Boeheim, the stoic coach, the Hall of Famer of the Syracuse Orange. After Buddy Boeheim just threw a flush down, they pointed the camera at the sideline, and the stoic Jim Boeheim dropped a Hogan flex on the Noles. The head coach is dropping Hogan poses on Florida State. FSU, like, for a team that 2 years ago was a Final Four threat, man, Leonard Hamilton's team went down quick, did they? Yikes. All right, let's get to a couple more stories. If you missed it, Kyrie Irving went up against Charlotte the other night. Or excuse me, Orlando. Charlotte the other night. Dropped a 50-pointer. All right. Now, 50-pointers happen. Usually from the best players in the league, 50-pointers happen. But what does not happen was 50 points on 19 shots. Finished the night shooting 15 of 19 from the field, 9 of 12 from behind the arc, 11 of 13 from the stripes. There are, in NBA history, Lonzo, 2 guards, Kyrie is one of them, to produce multiple career 50-point scoring efforts while shooting 75% or better from the field. So you got to hit 3 out of 4 and get to 50. There are 2 guards in NBA history to do it. Kyrie's one. Who's the other? Don't overthink this.
Oh, I was going to say Michael Jordan.
That would be correct.
Yeah.
That would be correct. The only other guard to drop 50 on better than 75% from the floor in multiple games is the greatest of all time, MJ.
I'm glad you told me not to overthink it, because I always think people are trying to trick me. So
most of the time I am, for the record.
So, okay.
Most of the time, if I ask Lonzo a trivia question, it's because I know I'm going to get him. And I'll be real with you. Usually it's because I'm trying to make a point, right? Like, usually I'm trying to make a point that the normal person would think X, but really the answer is X plus 100, right?
So you're not trying to demean the person across from you to make yourself look bigger.
Correct. I'm trying to demean the person in front of me because it makes my point look better.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. All right. So
Right.
It's just for the show.
And for the record, most of the times that I ask you a trivia question, it's because I tried to answer it before the show and also got it wrong by a lot.
Keep on challenging me. I'm good.
So Kyrie and Michael Jordan, the only guys with 50 on 75% from the floor.
Not bad for a guy. Well, he plays pretty well on the road, doesn't he?
He plays exclusively on the road. Nets break a 5-game losing streak. After Durant's injury and Harden's departure, they have taken a tailspin, but they looked good. They look good. Kevin Durant, 14.7 assists in that game. But I got to tell you, when a dude's knocking down 50 on 19 shots from the floor, 15 of them banking through, you don't have to really worry about it.
You know, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm thinking someone from Syracuse has probably got a pretty good net of points right now.
I got to tell you. Let's see. All right. If Buddy Boeheim puts one down here, Syracuse is up 39 right now, 5:47 left to play in the game. I got to tell you, Zoe, I'm a sports gambling guy. I don't care what the number is. I don't think I'm banking on FSU in a comeback. They are now down 41 in the ACC second round. They're down 41.
What point do you start pulling your starters?
They did.
Did they?
I think there's only 2 of them out there right now. I mean, I got to think, if you're Florida State at this point, do you just go ahead and go to the officials and go, nah, we're done. We're done. We're out. We'll play it out to the end. No, I'm good. I'm going to call this one a day. I got to tell you, the rooms at the Marriott Courtyard in downtown New York seem a lot nicer than being on the floor with this bleep show. Ugly. Ugly. All right, that's enough of that game. Do we have one more break or 2, Lonzo? I'm off the clock. We got 1, right?
Yes.
All right, just making sure. Let me tell you this story then. Love this one. Love this one. So Tom Brady and Wes Welker played together. And for this story, Tom Brady decided to break out a story from 2010 when he and Wes Welker played together. Take it back to December of 2010. The New England Patriots were on the road at the Chicago Bears. The temperature in this game, Lonzo, was hanging at a blistery 3. Just 3. It was just 3 degrees.
Yeah, I know 3 degrees.
3.
I've been there before. Yes, 3 degrees.
On top of 3 degrees, it was snowing. And on top of 3 degrees and snowing, the winds coming off of the Great Lakes, upwards of 30 miles an hour. Now, we've heard the expression wind chill. The wind chill temperature that day was too damn cold. All right? Negative wind chill, 30 mile an hour winds, snowing outside in the cold of Chicago. So Brady was doing a Q&A session where he was in the first blemish of Tom Brady's distinguished career for Rob Brown, selling NFTs. Don't buy NFTs, people. He did a Q&A, and somebody got to talking about some of his favorite stories. And was talking about Wes Welker. And he said Welker, during the pregame, went out to do the warm-ups, the walkthroughs and the warm-ups and the warm-up drills and all that. Said that Welker went sleeveless out there to try to, he was going to be a man. I'm a man. I'm Wes Welker. I'm a man. So to be a man, because big men apparently, I guess, don't get cold. I don't get it.
As a former large person myself, when I was up near 400, didn't get as cold as I did after I lost the weight. So insulation, fat is insulation. So
look, I am fat. All right.
Yeah, but you're not that kind of fat.
I know I'm big. Let me go ahead and tell y'all right now. I'm the whole man card thing, I think, is archaic. I think it's dumb as it is. But if it is 3 degrees snowing, if it is 3 degrees snowing and 30 mile an hour winds, and your thought is you're not a man if you're wearing sleeves.
Yeah, guys in my neighborhood would be wearing shorts. Those guys were stupid, I want to point out.
Oh, yeah.
But they still would be wearing shorts.
I mean, if that's how you want to roll, that's fine. 30 miles an hour, I'm trying to see if I can call up Nike and go, can y'all stitch my number and name onto a North Face jacket? Because I ain't playing with anything less than that. So they go out there. He does the warm-ups, right? He does the warm-ups. And it's a little chilly. So after the warm-ups, they go back into the locker room. And Brady says, Welker does 2 things. Number 1, Lonzo puts on sleeves. And number 2, he says, Brady, come over and get a shot. Wes Welker sent somebody to find a bottle of Jack Daniels and started banging down shots of whiskey in the locker room before the game because he realized, I have made a mistake.
See, now here's where my mind went when you said, come over and get a shot. I'm thinking, okay, there's a shot that you can take that will make you warm?
Right. Brady said, he's like, TB, come on, get a shot. And I'm like, I'm not taking shots before the game. But because Wes was so old school, he was like, I've got to take it. And he did. He's banging down Jack. Well, this is me paraphrasing, but Wes Welker's in the locker room banging down shots of whiskey pregame because it's 3 degrees outside. Brady's like, nope. And Rob Brown and Rob Gronkowski are like, yep. Gronk said, responding to that, quote, it's true, he did rip a shot, and it was Jack Daniels. What a maniac. I love him, end quote.
All right, according to Adam Schefter, who was handed a memo to say this, the Colts are trading quarterback Carson Wentz to Washington for a package of, it says packs. It says a package of packs. I don't know what that means. That is thought to include, yes, Adam Schefter has an error in his tweet. Or a package of packs that is thought to include 2 third-round picks, sources tell ESPN. So I'm sure he meant picks.
That's going to be a package of picks that is thought to include 2 third-round picks. Imagine being Carson Wentz. They bring you to Indy. They make you the starter. They tell you you're the guy. The whole staff beams about you leading up to your first season, and then they trade you for 2 third-round picks.
And then you go to Washington and get beat out by Taylor Heineke, which could possibly happen.
Not only do they sell you out for a pair of third-rounders, but they sell you out to the Washington Commanders. Not only are you only worth 2/3, we are going to send you to one of the bottom-of-the-barrel clubs in the league. The next bit of news Adam Schefter is going to break is Carson Wentz retirement letter. Thanks for letting me play, guys. But me and my family have decided it's time to step away from football, or whatever they call it in Washington, D.C. Let's take a break. We'll come back, talk about some of the quarterback moves of the last 2 days on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Tell you about my friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Tell you what I look for, because your boy does not take care of himself, admittedly, and also comes from a line of really bad genetics, all right? Things don't always go well for me. So when it is time for me to look into getting health care for whatever reason I need it, I want somebody who is A, available, B, knowledgeable, and C, in touch with the most up-to-date technologies and the most up-to-date knowledge about the issues that I am dealing with. And that is why when I got here and I started asking around for those qualities, I was directed to Prisma Health and have stayed on that path the entire time. Prisma Health has locations scattered around the Upstate that is quick, convenient, easy to you. They have an extensive knowledge of thousands of doctors and healthcare professionals that can help you get on top, stay on top of your healthcare needs. And when you need to curb an issue before it gets bad, Prisma has the most up-to-date knowledge, methods, etc. that you could possibly want. They are the official healthcare provider for the Gamecocks of South Carolina. They are the official healthcare provider for the Tigers of Clemson. And they want to be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. They make it quick. They make it easy. They make it convenient for you. To learn more, go to prismahealth.org. Prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate. Syracuse is going to drop a hundo in this game.
By the way, the Obi-Wan trailer just dropped. Just now.
Sorry, listeners. We got to take a break. We've got more important things to do.
I'll watch it later. I can wait an hour.
Oh, I can. I don't want to, but I can.
Okay. Just make sure that you don't turn up the sound in front of your microphone. Disney's a little sensitive about that, as we know.
Well, hello there. General Kenobi. Weak. Poor Carson Wentz.
No way.
What, that they get to 100?
No. I'm watching the trailer without the sound,
Oh.
and I'm saying no way by something I just saw without hearing it.
Is it Stone Cold Steve Austin?
How'd you know? Let's just say Obi-Wan's watching someone who he's. No. He's been mandated to watch someone. He is watching them. Ooh, so he does go off world. Dude.
Love that. Love whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
That's fine. I don't want you to. Just love that reaction. Oh, they didn't get to 100. So close.
Even without the sound on, I'm down.
Here for it. Here for it.
Plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $36.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
AutoZone.
Wow, I want to say something right now, but I'm not going to. About
you let me get to a computer screen first.
No, about something someone just tweeted.
Oh, gotcha.
It just.
Joe in Greer says, so the Commanders in the last week call Kansas City and try to get Mahomes, call Seattle for Russ Wilson. Damn, fine. Guess we'll take Carson Wentz. Yeah. You know what? I respect. You know what Washington is? Washington is the nerdy kid in your class that asked out the head cheerleader, and when she said no, asked out the prom queen, and when she said no, asked out the captain of the girls volleyball team, and when she said no, was like, all right, girl next door it is. Right? Can I tell you sincerely, Lonzo, how bad I feel for Ron Rivera? Right? Like Ron Rivera I genuinely do not believe Ron Rivera should have been let go by Carolina. How much better of a spot is Carolina in right now if they still have Ron Rivera instead of Matt Rule?
I don't know if they're any better. Really.
Genuinely?
I don't know if they're any better because Ron Rivera, although I met him, interviewed him, is a really cool guy.
All around good dude.
He really is. But his starts at Carolina, most other places would have got him fired because other than the Super Bowl, his years he would start out, they'd be terrible at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, this year they were good at the beginning of the year. Then what happened?
As far as that goes, he's okay. He just beat cancer, and he's coaching an NFL team, and he's making a lot of money. So I don't feel that bad for him.
And if it makes you feel better, Carolina fans, you know, I know some of you guys get upset because I have said that, to me, the problem with Carolina is the head, not the body, right? I mean, Matt Rule's part of the problem, but the problem in Carolina is owner, GM on down. It's the decision-making process, and I stand by that. You are not the only team with that problem. The Washington Commanders are in the same boat. The problem is you're in the same boat with the Washington Commanders, right? You going, well, at least we're not the only team that's being screwed over by ownership and general management. The problem with not being the only team getting screwed up by ownership and general management isn't, oh, we're not alone. It's, yeah, but look at the teams that are in the same boat with you, right? Oh, well, I'm not the only one around here that's bankrupt. Yeah, but other people being bankrupt still sucks to be bankrupt, right? Like, just because other people have no money doesn't mean that not having money is suddenly okay. No, it's bad. Anyway. Congratulations and or my deepest sympathies to Carson Wentz who thought that he was on the fast track to be the guy in Indy, and now he's a guy in Virginia. All right, let's take a break. We got 1 hour left to go, and it's going to get weird. Got a few more stories to hit on the way up and out. I'm Rob Lonzo, and this is ESPN Upstate.
According to Ian Rappaport, the Colts are now going to try to go after Jimmy G.
Well, I mean, him or Jameis Winston. I know the Commanders were making a push for Jameis Winston.
You have Harley in the first break.
NC State in their ACC tournament opener, 70-64. The final score. PJ Hall recording his fourth double-double of the season, 18 points at 2.
Because he just watched the trailer. That's why.
Nick Honor scored 13. Also had just 1 turnover in 35 minutes playing at the point guard position. So Clemson will go into a matchup against the 7th seed at Virginia Tech today. Virginia Tech leads the all-time series against Clemson 22-17. However, in the regular season finale, it was Clemson getting a win against the Hokies, 63-59. Download the Score app.
Clemson on the same side as Syracuse.
It's a full bracket, so I don't know where this is. I got the bracket.
I'm just saying you probably don't want none of that. That's all I'm saying.
My fellow Gamecock fans all the time. Yeah, you're right. I'll give you an example. We said last week, USC means Southern Cal in 49 states. Carolina means the UNC Tar Heels in 49 states. That is my opinion, but it's been corroborated by other people. And it's even corroborated by the University itself, South Carolina.
Use a word you can't spell. The journey to the tourney.
It's good because it rhymes.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. What's up? Upstate North Carolina, South Carolina. Good Lord, I'm blanking. I got to tweet. If in fairness, during the break, not only am I dumb.
Why are you looking at me like I'm going to be hypercritical of you making
like, what an idiot. Which is fair. I am.
I try to correct you before they do to like lessen the blow.
What had happened was during the break, I got a tweet. From a North Carolina fan who asked if there was any chance that we might be able to rehash North Carolina beating Duke in Coach K's final home game, embarrassing the Blue Devils in front of Coach K's family as they sent him out the door his last time at Cameron Indoor. And I had that on the brain because, ladies and gentlemen, I love rivalries. They're amazing, right? Love rivalries. And the fact that Carolina Blue fans are still 4 days later like, hey, can you do me a favor and just make sure that Duke fans remember that we beat Coach K in his send-off game at Cameron Indoor? Can you just remind them not to forget that Carolina spoiled the farewell of Coach K? Can you do that for me? Absolutely love that rivalry. Love that they would go that direction. Beautiful. All right. Welcome back to Rob Brown Shows on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. We had some questions earlier. Back during the lunch breakdown. You may remember that. It was a very long time ago. But back during the lunch breakdown, one of the three stories that we brought up was, of course, one of the three stories we brought up was Deshaun Watson. Deshaun's got a big week lined up. All right. Big week lined up. So first and foremost, I'll re-ask the question because we got a couple of answers then, but I'll re-ask the question here. When the Deshaun Watson story started breaking, I guess it's been about a year now. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? When the story started breaking about a year ago, that there was these accusations surrounding Deshaun Watson. We had a lot of folks, specifically on social media, but on the show too, that started saying, hold up, Rob, wait a minute. Deshaun's a great guy. Deshaun's a good dude. Deshaun at Clemson was never accused of anything. He was always a Class A guy, just a spectacular dude. So I don't believe this. And then the stories kept coming out. The investigations start getting announced. The potential for there to be a grand jury, which now there is and is happening, I think this Friday was, we said. I'll tell you in just a minute. All of that started coming out. And while those people are still around, while those people still exist, we have gotten less and less in terms of the number of people that have been going, hold up, Rob, don't go so quick in the paint. We don't necessarily believe it. We don't necessarily believe that this is accurate, right? So my question is, where do you stand on Deshaun? All right. I don't want you to go. I know you kind of have to bring the potential lawsuits and the civil lawsuits and the potential for charges into the mix to have a conversation about Deshaun. But my question would be, Deshaun Watson, are there still fans in the area, right? We talked also in the first hour about, we talk about things that move the needle, or at least we affect or try to have the effect of moving the needle by bringing things up that you guys are interested in, you guys want to discuss. Is this still a story? You know, every now and then I do a segment where I knock out 3, 4, 5 stories that I think are important stories, but not necessarily worth the full segment. Does this get moved into one of those segments? Here's the latest on Deshaun, XYZ. Okay, next, moving on. Or is this something that you guys are following? I don't know. Text me on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. But as far as for what's happening right now, Friday is going to be a big deal. And here's why. I don't know if this is common. I don't know if this is normal. I don't know if this is a special circumstance. I don't know. I tried to do a little research. I'll be real with you. There's not a lot of precedent that I was able to find, right? Like there's not a lot of situations in this region of the country where somebody is facing this many civil lawsuits and potential criminal charges at the same time. But on Friday, we are going to have 2 massive developments in the Deshaun Watson story, according to Yahoo Sports. A, Watson is slated for his first deposition in the sexual misconduct civil lawsuits brought against him, with the quarterback's legal camp saying that he will plead the fifth in testimony, which is his right. Effectively, he is going to be deposed. You are going to have lawyers for the 22 lawsuits filed against him in civil court. You are going to have lawyers able to sit face-to-face and ask Deshaun Watson questions. Deshaun has the right to, and clearly will elect to, plead the fifth and say nothing. Part of the reason why is because as that is happening, the Harris County District Attorney's Office will begin presenting evidence to a Houston grand jury in Watson's criminal investigation. Remember, there are 2 angles to this story, civil and criminal. The lawsuits are what we are talking about when we say the civil side. These 22 young women or whatever it is, 24, bringing 22 lawsuits against Deshaun Watson are on the civil side. There is no criminal charges involved there. You can bring a civil suit for anything. Doesn't mean it'll be heard, but you can bring a civil suit for anything. Deshaun is going to sit down and face the lawyers of the accusers, probably some of the accusers on Friday. The Harris County District Attorney's Office is working the other angle of the story, that is the criminal side of this. Now, what is going to happen there is prosecutors are going to take the evidence that they have been gathering for the last couple of months. They are going to go in front of a grand jury. This grand jury is going to be convened for one reason. The grand jury is going to hear out all of the information that the prosecutors have in this story. And the grand jury has a decision to make. Is there enough evidence here? Is there enough to corroborate some of the stories behind the charges that Deshaun Watson should face criminal charges, should go to trial over criminal charges? Now, some folks have asked, and I think Lonzo pointed this out in the first segment of the show when we talked about this for a brief moment. Hasn't Deshaun said that he is innocent? As far as I remember, Deshaun has not said, I didn't do it. Deshaun has said, I want to clear my name. Now, for those of you that know me personally, you know this to be true. For those of you that do not know me personally, let me tell you something about me that is true. Lonzo, I am fascinated by word games. Okay? I'm fascinated.
I hadn't
by
noticed.
Them.
I hadn't noticed at all.
I'm a words guy. I love riddles. I am fascinated by word games. It's part of the reason I love the Batman so much. It was all word games, right? Loved it. Loved it. Fascinated by word games and fascinated by the games people play with words. And here's why. If somebody leaves a $100 bill on Lonzo's desk and Lonzo takes a bathroom break and he comes back and that $100 bill is gone. And Lonzo says, I think Rob took that $100 bill. And Lonzo's loaded, guys. He leaves hundos all over the place.
You know, when
he burns them for warmth.
When you got so many, you don't notice that they're missing.
Yeah, a hundo is like a Kleenex to Lonzo. He blows his nose in them. All right? So if Lonzo leaves a hundo, as us radio guys are known to do, just laying on his desk, and he leaves and he comes back and that hundo is gone. Lonzo says to our boss, I believe Rob took the $100 bill. And my boss comes to me and goes, Rob, we suspect you took the $100 bill. If I responded to our boss, you know what? I hope to clear my name of this accusation. What am I saying there, Lonzo? I'm not saying I didn't do it. I'm saying I hope to convince you that I did not. Now, I may not have, but at that point, that's a really dumb way to say it, right? If I didn't do it, I should just say, yeah, I didn't do that. Yeah, but I hope to clear my name doesn't say I didn't do it. It says I would like to clear my name of the accusation.
I completely get your point now. And that makes sense. The only thing that doesn't work with your story is, in truth, if there's a $100 bill on my desk, it would go in my pocket really, really fast.
Yeah, it doesn't belong to either one of us.
Yeah.
If I leave a dime out on the... All right, so Deshaun, as far as I know, and I could be wrong here. If any of you have a quote, hit me with it. I don't want to be wrong. I want to know as many true things and as many, and forget as many false things as possible. So, as far as I know, Deshaun Watson said, I hope to clear my name. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. It means I hope to stop the accusations. So why would Deshaun plead the fifth in the civil deposition? Now, he may very well, if the grand jury decides to allow the district attorney's office to go ahead with charges, he will likely be deposed in the criminal realm too. And I believe in the criminal realm, he may be compelled to answer certain questions. In the civil realm, he won't be. So if Deshaun is trying to clear his name and has nothing to hide, why would he plead the fifth, right? Because I have heard a lot of people, including some very high-ranking politicians, say, well, if you have nothing to hide, why would you plead the fifth? The answer is, you had better believe there are going to be, and I'll tell you that as a guy who has served as an untitled news director for stations in the past, let me tell you how I handle this, Lonzo, if I'm the news director at a radio or TV station down in H-Town. On Friday, I am sending 2 reporters to get as close to the civil depositions as I can. And I'm sending 2 reporters to get into the courtroom where they're holding the grand jury hearing, right? Where the prosecutors are talking to the grand jury. I'm sending 2 reporters to each. And I'm sending them with these directions. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you paying attention to every word that is said. I want you making notations of everything that is said. I want you making sure that those notations are accurate between each other, and that I want you immediately sending those notations back to me. And I am sitting my very attractive derriere at a desk with nothing on it except for 3 computer screens, because we're real fancy. We got 3. On my left computer screen, I got only email being sent from the 2 reporters at the civil deposition. On the right screen, I got only emails coming from the folks at the grand jury hearing. And in the middle, I got a blank Word document where I'm just popping in facts to see what matches up. And that's why Deshaun won't say anything at the civil deposition. Not because he doesn't have anything to say. Not because he doesn't want to say anything. Not because he doesn't believe it's good to clear his name. But because if he says one thing in the civil deposition that is contrary to a fact that is brought up by the prosecutors at the grand jury trial, all it's going to take is one news director in Houston to go, whoa, wait. Deshaun said red, but the prosecutors in the grand jury deposition said blue. And they brought evidence that it's blue. Now, that fact might be true to the best of Deshaun Watson's memory, or he might be lying. But if he says red and the prosecutors say blue and the prosecutors can prove blue, and that information gets to the grand jury, the grand jury is going to go, whoa, Deshaun's story does not match up with reality. And if Deshaun's story doesn't match up with reality, as a grand jury, bang, I'm moving to allow charges to come forward, right? I'm moving to allow this to go to a criminal court. So why won't Deshaun say anything in the civil depositions on Friday? Why does he plead the fifth to everything? Because, as a texter just pointed out, criminal prosecution is active. And all it's going to take is one oops where he gets a part of a story, just a part of a story wrong. And the prosecutors latch on and go, whoa. We got this receipt that says Deshaun was at place A at time B. And Deshaun said he was at place B at time A. That's clearly wrong. I don't want to accuse him of lying, but wrong. And then the grand jury goes, ooh, Deshaun's story contradicts facts. That's enough reason to believe that we should hear the trial out. Now Deshaun's got to go to trial. What he's hoping for is that by saying nothing and by giving them nothing, the prosecutors don't have enough to convince a grand jury to allow them to go forward with charges, and the whole criminal thing goes away at all. Because remember, if the criminal side of it goes away, Deshaun Watson doesn't have to face jail time. However, if the criminal side is allowed to go forward, if the criminal side, if the grand jury does decide to allow the DA or whoever's running this case to press charges, Deshaun Watson faces jail time. And as I've said a few times, ladies and gentlemen, I am unaware of a work release program that would allow Deshaun Watson to play on Sundays. Now, to be abundantly clear, I am not saying that I believe Deshaun Watson did the things he's accused of. I am not saying I believe that he did not. I am not taking a side. The default position on anything is I don't know until you know. I don't know. I have reasons to believe certain things. I do not believe anything yet. But that is why Friday is happening. And yeah, it's all a game, right? The attorney for the women absolutely wants to depose him before the criminal trial. Because if it goes to criminal trial and he's found guilty, his civil suits are almost guaranteed winners at that point, right? They're guaranteed winners. So, of course, Tony Busby wants to go early. Rusty Hardin, the defense attorney, has been fighting to get the civil deposition moved till after the grand jury for the same reason. Because if the grand jury dismisses criminal charges, now the civil suits look a lot better in comparison. And a settlement looks more realistic. That's why Friday's such a big deal. All right. Let me, you know what? I got a minute or two. Let's get Miss Melinda in here so she doesn't have to wait through the break. Hey, Melinda, welcome back to the show. Thanks for calling. Good to have you.
Hey, guys, I was just going to tell you also, another reason he's not going to say anything with a civil trial is the burden of proof for a civil trial is a whole lot less than the burden of proof for a criminal trial. I mean, look at OJ. I mean, I know that was a farce, but, you know, he was innocent according to the criminal trial, but he was easily found guilty in the civil trial.
So yeah, absolutely correct. You know, Termina, I don't think you're found guilty in a civil court. You just are awarded, right? But I get what you're saying. Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because there's no criminal charges, you're not guilty, but you would lose the civil suit. But you know, you're absolutely spot on, right? And that's kind of the reason that the defense attorney wanted the civil depositions after the grand jury was convened, because if the grand jury is convened, the prosecutors don't have enough evidence and the grand jury says this cannot go to a trial. Now winning the civil cases becomes much easier because you go, wait a minute. He didn't commit a crime, right? The court threw it away. The grand jury threw it away, didn't even make it a trial. The civil suit becomes a lot easier to win. And the opposite's true as well. If the grand jury says we will allow this to go to criminal court, then in the civil court, you go, well, if nothing else, there's enough evidence here this happened to justify a grand jury saying, let's take it to trial. That is why. And honestly, I got to tell you, I think having them at the same time, it's not great for Deshaun, but it's not the worst thing that could have happened. As long as he does plead the fifth and say nothing, basically the whole thing hinges on a grand jury now.
Yes, that is true.
Melinda, appreciate the phone call. Thanks for checking in. Great to hear from you. As always, you can call in too at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. You can text the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. Quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. I'll tell you about my friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville. I am, and this may shock you, quite a fan. So I've been riding bikes for about 7.5, 8 years now. And when I got up here, you know, I had a choice. When I was leaving Jacksonville, I'm like, do I bring the motorcycle or do I just get rid of it, you know? And I decided to bring it because everybody I talked to said, hey, look, riding through the Blue Ridge, riding around the upstate, some of the best riding in the country. And I thought, all right, well, I'll bring it. If I don't like it, I can sell the bike, whatever. Oh, man, am I glad I brought mine. And since I got here, everything that I have needed for my riding experience, to enjoy my riding experience, Harley Davidson of Greenville has provided. I needed a new helmet after I got here, right? I wanted to go full cage. They hooked me up. I needed some new gear. A lot of my old riding gear got left behind. They hooked me up. When I decided I wanted to start going on longer rides, but I didn't know the area. I just moved here. Where do I go? What do I do? What do I see? I went there and they said, all right, here's the rides. If you want to see waterfalls, go here. If you want a great mountain view, go here. If you want to go to a nice little town out in the sticks and grab some good barbecue, go this direction, take this ride, go up that hill, etc. They have provided everything that I've needed to get the most out of riding around the upstate. And that's why I continue to go to Harley Davidson of Greenville. And when you do, you'll see what I mean. If you have never ridden before, they got you from start to finish. They got the Riding Academy that they put on a handful of times every year. They will teach you, if you never even sat on a motorcycle, how one works, how to ride it. Then
All right, Twitter is spoiling me on one thing about the Obi-Wan thing. Apparently, Duel of Fates plays at some point.
I played that during one of the Rabbits games during a fight.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your mower. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. It doesn't matter how big or small your business is. If you're a plumber, roofer, electrician, or remodeler, your business earns back when you spend, gets exclusive offers, and paint rewards. It all adds up to help drive your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program today. Minimum purchase required. Earnings and paint rewards awarded as Lowe's e-gift cards. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Rewards and terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
Hey, it's Don with American Made Windows. Are you getting a tax refund? If so, do the smart thing and invest it in beautiful, energy-efficient windows from American Made Windows. Right now, you can really stretch that refund with $50 off per window or 12 months same as cash for qualified purchases and buyers. Visit amwupstate.com or call 333.
So the Penguin is getting a limited HBO Max series.
Colin Farrell's Penguin?
Yes.
I'm for it. I thought it was good. Like it was like Sopranos, but insane.
I thought he was the best bad guy on the thing, but I mean, I like Riddler and John Turturro was great, but I think maybe it's just because you knew who was underneath the makeup. I think that just made it so much better.
I mean, he was close to unrecognizable. It's one of those weird things. It's like, why did you pick that guy to be that character? And then he just did it. Oh, that's why.
I love that they were at the Iceberg Lounge too.
You sons of...
He's going to leave me here. Since we saw him later, apparently he got loose, but
All right, let's get a quick update. Won't spend a ton of time on it, but let's get a quick update on where Major League Baseball stands with their CBA negotiations, because it's been not great. I fake cleared my throat for drama, Alonzo, but then had to cut the mic to actually clear my throat.
yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
Struggling today. Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association apparently had a good day negotiations yesterday. And I don't mean good in terms of they got a lot done. I'm saying good in that in a point where baseball fans are being very critical of them in the social media sphere, and you don't have to love it, but it's mucho importante at this point. At a point in time where baseball, as a matter of fact, I saw somebody refer to Rob Manfred yesterday as El Diablo de Baseball, right? The devil of baseball. They're not big fans. At a point in time where the image of baseball is probably at the lowest it has been since the last time we had a lockout, baseball has been taking its sweet, sweet time to get a deal done. To the point that I remember a couple of weeks ago getting quite upset because I'm watching Major League Baseball meet for 2-3 hours, 3 days a week. And I'm going, guys, this season as a whole, its existence, the season at this point is up in the air. It's a maybe. It is 100% dependent on you guys getting a CBA deal done. And you guys are meeting for a couple of hours. So sorry to ask you to get rid of your very busy schedule to sit down and figure out the dollars and cents because your fans want to watch baseball. I know that was very rude of me. Then they got to a point where 2 weeks ago, They got a deadline staring them in the face. This is the day when Major League Baseball is going to start canceling games. And I don't know if you remember the segment that I popped off on this, though. But they had a meeting where they sat down and they worked for an exhausting 15 minutes. Their Starbucks didn't even get cold. And they decided, well, that's enough for today, guys.
Quality, not quantity, Rob.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the number of things that you can do quality work in 15 minutes is low, is very low. All right, not ideal. So, I was frustrated, to say the least. Well, where I ripped them in that segment, allow me to commend them for yesterday. Yesterday, there was some progress made. And I'm not commending them for the progress made because these are things that probably should have been made 2 months ago. But I will commend them for at least putting in the work. Yesterday, the owners and the players sat down for about 17 hours. They sat down for more hours yesterday than they did minutes 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. 17 hours. Those meetings ended after 3 a.m. last night. And they are meeting in Eastern time. So 3 a.m. Eastern. The two sides got back together this morning. And it looks like they may have another 17-ish hour day ahead of them today. And after Major League Baseball threatened to cancel the season's second week, which would have had dire consequences for both sides, right? For baseball, you were talking about canceling about 200 games. Now, in the grand scheme of things, considering baseball has like 2,000 games overall, it's not the end of the world. But you got to give back some TV revenue, right? You got to give Fox and ESPN back a chunk of their change because you promised them 2,000 and you're delivering, 1,880 or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are because I'm dumb and bad at math. That's why all my jobs are words jobs. But you get the point. You got to give them money back and you lose out on all the revenue. And again, if you're a team like the Atlanta Braves, I'll tell you right now, your boy is going to be at opening day for the Braves. Despite how mad I am at baseball, I'm going to opening day. Because how many opening days do you get to celebrate your team winning a World Series the day before? If you're me, the answer is 2 in my lifetime.
You're going to get to do that in 2023.
Shit, looking like it. So far, in my 37 years on this planet, 2 of them have I been able to go to an open day as defending World Series champs, right? I don't care what the ticket costs. I'm going to be in there when they drop that banner. And because I know me, I'm going to be in that building when they drop that banner, and I'm going to go, Lonzo, and go, well, I already spent $400 on a ticket. I better not go crazy. And then I'm going to walk out of there with about $350, $400 worth of Atlanta Braves World Series champions gear because I'm, again, an idiot, right? And there's a lot of Rob Browns, a lot of them, more diehard than me, that would spend more than that. They lose all of that revenue. It's all gone. Plus, 10 other games worth of revenue if you're the Braves in a World Series year. So the point is, there's dire consequences for the owners. On the flip side, there's consequences for the players too. Because according to the CBA that they've played under, and what will likely be negotiated into the new one is one of the few things that aren't going to get changed. There's a minimum amount of games that you have to play in order for that year to count as service time. You sign a 4-year contract and you play under X amount of games, that year does not count towards your 4 years. You have locked yourself into that team for another year, which means you can't test free agency, which means you can't find out if you can get more money elsewhere or negotiate for more money in your current club. That's not great for them either. So now that there's money be taken off the table, to hell with what the fans want, like, need. Now that there's money coming off the table in the millions, now they're willing to meet 17 hours till 3 a.m., get up the next day and be back in the office at 8 to do it again. Now, Yes, there's commendation in that. It's kind of their own fault, right? I got to tell you the number of times that I stayed up for a school project until 5 a.m. for a 7 a.m. class to finish that project and went, man, I put in hard work yesterday. And somebody would go, you probably could have done half the work if you would have started a month and a half ago when it was assigned, right? If you'd have done 30, 45 minutes a night, you could have knocked this out in half the time with half the stress. But I'm a procrastinator. Shocking, I know. That's kind of the situation here. Do I commend them for staying up till 3 a.m. to finish the project that they could have had probably done already if they would have been working instead of 15 minutes, but 15 hours a month ago? No. But at least they're doing it. They're not just going, screw the season. Who needs to play this year anyway, right? But they got some stuff done, which is good. They got some stuff done. The league came up with a couple of ideas. They discussed some tweaks on the players' end about the concept of an international draft. The players have been against the international draft in the past. They brought it up as a potentially viable Kickstarter this time around. They did, however, balk at the league's latest offer on the competitive balance tax, the luxury tax, right? League wants it to start at $230 million and at $242, increasing gradually to $242 million by 2026. The players want it higher because, of course, they do. Because the players aren't super concerned about parity, right? If it's the same 4 teams every year because those teams are putting down $400 million in payroll and paying a luxury tax, the players don't care because that means there's more money going to players. But the owners do because the owners can use it as a default salary cap. Well, we'd love to pay more, but we can only pay $242 million on the payroll because if we go up to that luxury tax and that's revenue that we would lose out on, and you guys know we can't do that, right? So the good news is the last couple of points that apparently we need to come together on are big, but they're things that the compromise is starting to work on. The league had proposed a 16 draft lottery, a 12-team postseason, and a 45-day window for MLB to change on-field rules. The players said yes to the 45-day window. The league proposed all 3 of these things. All 3 of them match the players' union's last offer. So there's 3 things right there. Tick, tick, tick. Compromise, compromise, compromise. That's good. That's good. That's what we need. So progress made. $17 million in the bank, 17 hours in the bank yesterday. And they got back together early this morning. My optimism grows slowly. It's at like 6% now. Let's take a break. I got a couple more things I want to get to before we get to Twitter to end the show. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
All right, let's see if I can get Diesel to come in here when I make so much noise trying to make this shot.
Trash can is under the table.
I get schooled on how I should, recycle. Think about trying to bounce. I'm thinking about this. I don't think it'll work, but
I'm telling you, you gotta go spiral straight into it and catch the back wall.
I want to try a bounce. So be careful.
Oh yeah.
So by the way, I had the right trajectory, just no bounce.
I don't see the bounce happening. The angle has to be perfect and you can't control it. No, I'm telling you. You gotta bowl it.
I am.
I'm talking like with the spiral on it. You need the bottle cap flying straight at the wall. Better form.
Yeah, but
better form. Bad angle.
It's not round. It's not gonna. I'm gonna granny it.
Oh, that was rough. That was rough.
I hit it.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was that close. It was rough. Dialing it in.
That's the only reason why I'm doing it.
Oh, and across the room.
And now I'm just going to put it in the can because I have to go back and hunt it.
regular fans go to cheer on the team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game ready.
Done tweaked my back. Oh, Lord.
And Allen, who keeps
Somebody
us
help
together
me.
smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last part of the season.
Daggum arthritis.
Supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
I'm gonna have to talk to the cleaning crew and tell them that they have to put the trash can back where it's supposed to be because
we're not allowed to.
Because it would break the rules if we move the can. So we can't do that. Prisma in the final break.
I didn't feel so well, so I searched my symptoms on Google, and now I'm being followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like my personal data is being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference.
Now this seems to be a competitive game. Also with not a lot of scoring, but it did just start, I guess. Wait, these are 20-minute halves, right?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
So 6.5 minutes, we got 6.5 minutes, we got 21 points. Woo. Blazing. Of course, after watching what Syracuse did, nothing's going to be. One of these teams has Joey Fatona on their team.
Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
That's a great question, Stephen. We have no answer for that. I can speak for Rob and say we have no answer for that.
So real quick, just a fun little story from the past. Steve Forbes is the ACC Coach of the Year at Wake Forest. Wake Forest finishes the season 23-8, 13-7, the 5 seed in the ACC tournament, and heading to March Madness. Regardless of what happens today, they're up 1 over Boston College, 11-10, just over 12:43 left to play in the first half of the second round of their ACC tournament matchup in the quarterfinals. Steve Forbes, Lonzo, his first head coaching job, his first college head coaching job was at Northwest Florida State College, which is the school that I used to call play-by-play for down in Niceville, Florida, just outside of my hometown of Fort Walton Beach. And I got into play-by-play when I was doing my radio show down there for them. And at the time, they've been a JUCO powerhouse ever since. And Steve Forbes is a big part of the reason why. But at the time, Steve Forbes was on his way to a JUCO national championship with Northwest Florida State College. And anyway, I set up, as I've done here with the number of teams, set up a weekly interview where Steve Forbes would come on my show then, and we'd talk basketball and what was going on with the Red Raiders of Northwest Florida State College and whatnot. Anyway, first time Steve calls my show. Great dude, by the way. Very funny guy. First time Steve Forbes calls my show, and I have him on. I jokingly said, Coach, what type of intro music you want, right? Like if I have a recurring guest, I'll usually ask him, like, what kind of intro music do you want? What's your walk-up music, right? Every great wrestler and baseball player's got their walk-up music. What's your walk-up music? Forbes doesn't take a second, doesn't think about it. He face-to-face looks at me and goes, Notorious B.I.G. And I said, any song? And he gives me like a list of 4. And I'm talking, he's going like gangster rap bangers. He's like, I want Biggie. I'm like, Coach, I don't know if I can get away with that playing on the air. He goes, if you want the interview, figure it out.
There you go. And I'm guessing you figured it out.
Oh, yeah. Me and my producer, Dollar Bill, sat there and figured out how we were going to edit out most of what B.I.G. said in some Biggie tracks to be able to bump it for Steve Forbes. We got it done. Came on the show. He did that with me for about a year and a half. And every time we had to slowly introduce him because the couple of times, like Lonzo does this too. When we call for the interview, Lonzo waits until it is time for us to say hi to the guests. We're like, hey, welcome to the show. Then Lonzo turns the phone on and turns the volume up so nothing gets said accidentally, right? We had to start doing that with Forbes because Forbes would be listening and he'd start rapping the song, right? We found a way to filter the vocals out. And he'd start rapping the song while he's on hold waiting for us to call him in. That's how you gain fans, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get people on your side. Steve Forbes is a legend. I actually almost had him on the show about halfway through the season, not because I think there's a ton of Demon Deacons basketball fans in the house, but just because I wanted to see if Forbes still wanted Biggie as his walk-up music. Great dude.
By the way,
great guy.
Biggie
So happy
was
for him.
Trending today. I think this is the 25th anniversary of his death.
25 years. My
Yes.
Lord. My Lord. What a hot minute. All right. Anyway, Steve Forbes, so happy for that dude, man. Glad he got it. He left Northwest Florida State, went to Wichita State, home of the Shockers, and then Wake Forest a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, rolled the dice and took a risk on a mid-major coach who came from the JUCO ranks, and look at Wake Forest go, man. Demon Deeks in a good spot, heading to March. Good team and growing. Love Steve Forbes. All right, let's take a break. We come back. We wrap it all up with Twitter trending topics. My name is Rob Brown. The great one's on the other side of the glass. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Let me make a guess about you. Just a guess. I'm going to say my guess here is that your health is important to you. That's my first guess. And my second guess is that when you or someone in your family has a healthcare need, you want the best healthcare that you can possibly have. Of course, that's true, right? It's not really a guess so much as a statement. Well, that's why I'm here to tell you about my friends at Prisma Health all across the upstate. Because if you need help with your healthcare situation, whether it's just a regular checkup, something's going wrong, you got something wrong and you just know it's wrong and you want somebody to look up after you, don't you want to go with the healthcare provider that is known for providing reliable healthcare, that is set up easy and convenient for you? Did you watch the Allston promo?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Solid work.
I agree with you guys. The Stone Cold promo was excellent. The thing is, should he do it? I don't know. You know, right now it's not a match. It's just him being on the KO show, but we'll see. He's not going to get, if it were a match, he would not come back unless he was going to win. Also, the fact that Kevin Owens went to him personally and asked him if he could use the stunner, since that's Stone Cold's move, and he gave him his blessing. So it's stunner versus stunner. It should be pretty cool.
By the way, Austin wins that match, right? Like, even if he wants to put KO.
It's not going to be a match right now. Right now, it's just he's going to be on the KO show.
He said, I'm going to open a can of whoop ass on you.
I know, but it's not necessarily a match. I can't guarantee that right now, Tayshaun, because Wednesday, pizza night, family night, we got a couple shows to watch.
I'll be on late, Tayshaun, like late, because I host trivia till 9, but I'll be on probably around 10:30, and I'll play into the morning, I'm sure.
To be extremely nerdy, Superman and Lois was on last night, but we watch it on Wednesdays, and then Flash returns tonight, and Nora's on it, and she's like the best part of the show. Flash probably should have been canceled a long time ago, but when Nora's on it, it's excellent. Although it's not going to be canceled because it's already been picked up for next season.
I started it. It didn't really hook me all that much.
Well,
it felt more drama-y than I mean, not that I'm against drama shows, but
it's been a little more preachy the last, as far as agendas go, and gotten away from the actual superhero stuff a little bit. But Superman and Lois and Flash both have already been picked up for next year, but none of the other ones have yet. After Arrow went away, I haven't really gotten into any of the other ones. I gave Superman and Lois a chance. I didn't like what they did to Superman and Supergirl. And Supergirl got really weird after the first season. It's like, yeah, I'm done with this too. Come on, Keegan. Titans is great, especially Deathstroke. It is time for Twitter Trending Topics. We actually have some time for a change. That's kind of weird because we're so busy and, time keeps on ticking.
Slipping
into the future. I thought it said ticking. Does it say slipping? Does it say ticking at some point?
US trivia. I'll look it up.
Okay. All right. So the first thing that is trending is Miro.
Miro, but it's not because of the wrestler Miro.
No, this is. But,
this
but
is.
Go ahead.
Okay,
I mean,
so there was a, and I cannot remember, but a foreign national who came to America, had been citizen, had gotten his citizenship, big fan of America, named Miro, and I can't remember the guy's last name, but he has left and gone to Ukraine to utilize this. He came to America, got a citizenship, I believe, joined the military, then went to Ukraine, and is now putting that knowledge into training Ukrainian troops to defend their cities from the Russian invasions, and has been instrumental in a lot of what they've done. But let's talk wrestling.
Yeah, say now I feel bad about talking wrestling. Miro signed a contract extension through 2026.
I think he's got to, right? Like that dude was.
When's the last time we saw him wrestle, though? I mean, it's been a while. I don't know. Is he injured? Is he just off screen?
I think he's been injured was the case. I could be correct, but I thought he had a knee injury that kept him out. But I'm not surprised because before the injury, that dude was absolutely white hot. And I kind of thought Miro was going to come back for that ladder match as like the last surprise entry before they went Christian.
Yeah,
which is fine because I think Christian and OJ were a much needed part, because if it was all big guys, it would have been just a hoss match, which the good parts were great, like Wardlow calling guys down off the ladder, calling Keith Lee off the ladder, was phenomenal. But yeah, I thought he was coming back for that. That being said, I think he comes back. I think there's some great wrestling left in that guy.
Yeah, I'm glad he resigned. All right, the next thing that's trending is Gotham Knights.
Yeah, we got a texter. I only know this because a texter texted us because we have the greatest listeners in the world that said HBO's decided not to go forward with the Gotham Knights show. I'll be real with you, Zoe. I pay attention to this stuff. I was unaware of what this show was going to be, but apparently now it's not going to be anything.
All right, that's not what it's about. And Gotham Knights is actually going to be on CW, and it is going forward, and probably not going to watch it. But the Gotham Knights game is now, it was supposedly delayed. It's now, the release date is 10/25, which is a pretty big deal. Batman.
What's the premise of that?
Batman's supposedly dead, and the rest of the Bat family are having to find out why he died, and you get to play as Batman, as
I do
Robin,
remember we talked about this.
or Red Hood, or all those guys, and that's
that looked like it was going to have some good gameplay.
It does, and it's coming out 10/25. All right, let's see. John Jones is trending.
Every time I hear that name, I just get disappointed, right? Like that guy could have gone as the GOAT, and he just can't get out of his own way.
You're going to like this. It's Israel Azania says he's glad he's not a cop car headbutter. So I think we're setting up for something that if John Jones does come back, he goes up against Israel, and finally we get to see John Jones lose.
You blanking nerd. So good. You nerd. All right, that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Diesel and Mark Ryan are up next with All Sides. We're back tomorrow. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. Yeah, it's slipping. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Thanks for